Okay, it is 7 o'clock now, so we can call this meeting to order.
Okay.
And the first thing we want to do is welcome our new members, which is Kristen and Holiday. Welcome to our library board. Thank you for volunteering your time and for wanting to help out with our board. We can briefly go around and I'll introduce ourselves, but you guys can take a couple more minutes to tell us about yourselves if you would like. All of our officers the new officers from New Year are starting at this meeting. So my name is Bob and I am our new board president as of today. So cut me some leeway if it doesn't look like I know what I'm doing. But we will get through it. I've been on the board for 2 years and we can just go around this way. Sure.
Anthony Moretti, beginning my second year on the board. I am a department head and associate professor at Robert Morris University, and I begin my role as board secretary tonight as well. So definitely go easy on me.
I'm Monica Rain Rogers. I started the board at the same time as Anthony, so starting my second year. I'm an assistant professor at Penn West Cal.
Marcia Taylor, I served on this board previously for 6 years, and then I went off and I'm back on what year am I in, 4?
At least,
Something like that.
it's been several years.
It's been a number of years. I've been treasurer most of the time. I've also been on the county library board for 6 years. I've been on the electronic information board. I'm on my second 6-year term for that. I'm retired, but in my real life, I was the assistant manager for Mount Lebanon.
I'm Susan Tracy. Hi, Holiday. And I'm the president of the Friends of the Mount Lebanon Public Library, so I represent the Friends here at this meeting.
So, thanks. So I'm Kristen Baginski. Those of you who are from Pittsburgh will appreciate that I grew up in the north side and got married and moved to Mount Lebanon. And now I am a blood traitor to my family. But I love living in Mount Lebanon. I'm so excited to be on this board. I have a JD, but also have an MLS. So I've taught at Pitt here and Duquesne legal research and writing. I've taught at the University of Maryland. I was actually on the board at CLP as the mayor's representative for a while. So very excited to be here and back to do this. I currently work for LexisNexis. I am the intellectual property and data security privacy practice area specialist. So if you need to learn any research on those topics, I'm happy to help you out with any of those. No, I haven't honestly had a business card in probably 6 years. So because before my current position, I mostly worked at Pitt, Duquesne, and WVU law schools, and students don't want business cards. So I'm sure all of you professors know. So, but I'm thrilled to be here. So thanks for having me.
I'm Holiday Adair. I'm a retired chair of the psychology department from California University of Pennsylvania. I'm really happy to be here.
I'm Ann Sawyer Wilson. I'm the commission liaison. I have been since October when I was appointed to the commission. I'm retired. In my previous life, I was the executive director of the American Institute of Architects. So my background is city planning, design, urban design.
Robin Vitek, I'm the library director.
Hi, I'm Mary Mank. I am a former public librarian who now works at the VA hospital in Oakland as an operating room nurse. So.
All right, thanks everyone, and again, welcome again to our board. So our first item is the approval of consent agenda items. To our new members, what this is we take the minutes from the last meeting, our agenda for this meeting, financial reports that we don't go over every single month, but Robin provides us paper updates on. We package this all together as one vote just to approve it at every meeting.
And I do have a couple of comments about this month.
Yeah, the slate of officers, I'm just gonna ask, can we just put it in as a vote to confirm what we voted last month?
That's basic, that's
Yeah.
what this is. So, but first of all, the March statistics and financial report are not included. I will give them to you next month, and I sincerely apologize. We have had just a massive shortage of staff this week, including the person that typically puts together these reports has been out on medical leave. So I have not been able to put that together for you, but
you will have it to vote on and approve next month. Also included is our annual audit result, which was clean. And the final page, according to our bylaws, the April meeting is our annual meeting. And at the annual meeting, you elect officers and adopt the annual report. Ever since I've been here, which has been 7.5 years, we've been doing this at the March meeting. And I'm not sure why. It's just procedurally, that's what we've been doing. So I thought we should try to get back in line with our bylaws. So I added this page to our consent agenda. You were all presented the annual report at the March meeting, and we voted officers in at the March meeting. So this is basically just a confirmation of what's already been done. And Holiday and Kristen have also received the annual report as part of their welcome packets.
The thing is, wouldn't the vote on officers have to take place the
In
month
March meeting?
before the first official
Yeah.
meeting of the new year?
Apparently not, according to not only our bylaws, but the other municipal boards and authorities bylaws. They're supposed to take place in April, and I guess that's so that Evan and Eve voted and then immediately left the board,
Yeah.
so. I don't know. I don't know the whys and wherefores.
If for
It's
some
just what the
reason you got to
bylaws
the
say.
April meeting and the vote failed, you would have no officers for that meeting.
Right.
Not saying it would ever happen, just pointing out the little flaw in the logic.
Something to think about as we transition the boards for next year.
Okay, that's fine. The way you have it set up, it works for me. I just say we confirm.
But that's why I put it in the consent agenda. I didn't think it really needed a whole lot of discussion.
Were there any other notes from you about any of the other consent agenda items?
No.
Did anyone else have any concerns about any of the consent agenda items?
I'm really concerned with the audit. Last year, wasn't there like an asterisk and it's disappeared now this time?
Yeah, so there used to be a management letter that we would receive with the audit. Since we now channel all of our invoices through the municipalities software, they no longer need that management letter. Basically, we're in compliance because we're part of that whole system, and all of the nitpicky stuff that they had to do because we were special no longer applies. So it's all been really streamlined and was much easier this year. So, yes,
So we will need a motion to approve the consent agenda item.
minus the March statistics and financial report.
I will.
Mary has motion to second. Everybody in favor?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, comments from observers, we have none.
Wait, let me check online real quick. Yeah, none.
Comments from friends of the library, Susan.
Yes, I just want to remind people that the plant sale is on May the 13th. The pre-sale ends on April 21st. But if you don't have your pre-sale in, you can just come in on the day of the sale, because we're gonna order about 120 extra plants. And a lot of them will be plants that are not on the order form, so, you know, it just makes it fun. We're going to have crafts there that day. We have a lot of local gardeners who donate perennials. Some of the people who are the garden tour people, if you have seen some of the gardens out there, so, and they sell them for really good pricing. If you are a gardener or a person who plants anything, what I've learned thus far this year is some plants are gonna be very hard to come by. We are fortunate that we are dealing with a farmer that has what we ask for, but we know other people who are having garden sales, and they asked us, where did you get your herbs? Because their provider can't get herbs anywhere, so, and Janoski's are selling, not that this is really important, but Janoski's 3-inch pots are being sold for $5.50. That's a high price for a 3-inch pot. So, if you think you're gonna be planting anything, please come by on the 13th and see what we have. Oh, I have a shout out for a librarian. I was helping at the desk one day this past week. And the volunteer was just talking about how nice Eric is. And of course, everybody knows Eric is just wonderful, but she just could not say enough. And then her final sentence was, Susan, I think I love him.
It's going to make his day, I'll be sure to
Oh
tell him.
my. So, yeah, I did want to pass that along. And that's what I have from the friends.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to comments from our commission liaison.
Thank you. The commission has been busy, as usual, passing all sorts of ordinance and talking about road reconstruction, sewers, et cetera, all interesting subjects to some of us. Others probably find it boring. A couple of things that are out there that are being considered. We're looking at a new sidewalk ordinance. This would, if it passes and in its final form, hopefully make it easier for citizens to be able to have sidewalks put in the front of their homes. We have a number of streets in Mount Lebanon that are busy and the children use them to walk to school and they don't have sidewalks. So we're trying to enable the citizens on those roads to be able to put in sidewalks a little more easily. So stay tuned. It'll be first, you'll see it in the discussion session of the commission, and then it goes to the whole process of being passed by the commission. Also, brick streets. Brick streets are extremely expensive to rebuild, and yet they are very much a part of our historic heritage. Our historic district was founded on the concept of the automobile suburb, and those brick streets were part and parcel of the automobile suburb. So we are trying to save as many as we can. We're going through the process now of looking at all of them and deciding which ones could be saved, which ones, for example, an alley. Do we need to save a brick alley? Can that go? So that's in process. We hope to finally pass the Brick Street policy, which has been in consideration for 3 years. It's a difficult subject because it's expensive, but yet you want to save things. Also, just a reminder, Ascend Lebo, which is the nickname for the comprehensive plan. There's a set of questionnaires up. There are 3 questionnaires. They take about a total of 15 minutes to do all 3. Please consider doing them. They're easy. This is the plan the commission will follow for 10 years. It's our Bible. So if you don't participate, you've done the old bad democratic thing of not letting your voice be heard, and we really do want to hear your voice. So please fill them out. The plant sale and the National Library Week have been mentioned by commission for at least the past 2 meetings and in every meeting I have.
Thank
Robin's
you. I appreciate it very much.
And we have finally passed an ordinance that will collapse some of the boards that we currently have into larger boards that will deal in a more broad way. Part of this was because resources of staff, we had 10 committees plus 5 other boards, I think it was, and found staff spending a couple nights a week in addition to their 40-hour week doing this. So we felt we could address issues of, for example, mobility by collapsing parking together with traffic. You know, that don't have to be separate boards. So that is in process. And I think that's all I've got. Any questions, concerns, thoughts, complaints?
Is there like a target number to get that number of boards down to, or is it more just what makes sense?
It really was more around the sort of larger buckets that we could put things in as opposed to a specific target. I mean, one thing was just, we felt we were stretching our resources too thin. It gets really cumbersome for staff, so.
And this is just for the advisory board. so
It
it
just
will not
advisory
affect
boards.
our-
It won't affect you. I should have said that. Thanks, Robin. It doesn't affect you.
Do you guys have like a deadline of when you expect to have decisions made?
Yes, April 2024 is when the new boards roll out. So we are in process right
So
now.
it has to happen before then.
The ordinance has been passed. Now all we're doing is defining what the vision of those boards are, the missions of those boards, and how they operate, rules and regs, as they say.
You said April 24.
24.
The new CRB members, for example, that were just appointed, were only appointed for 1
1
year.
year.
Because the board will cease to be at that point, and the community engagement board will then take
Right.
over those responsibilities.
Right.
Okay, next up
Thanks,
is.
everybody.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Next up is my report. Before I get to confirming dates for the board meetings, I wanted to talk about Thursday. Thursday is actually the next meeting of the Comprehensive Plan Liaison Committee, which Ann just mentioned. I am supposed to be our liaison on that committee, and I attended the first meeting, and I missed the second. I think it was when I had COVID.
I think it was your surgery.
Oh, yeah, it was surgery, and Robin, I'm sad to report, I'm not sure I can make it on Thursday. I'm working on it, and I can't have an answer for that tomorrow if it needs to be me. But
What time is the meeting?
I can look it up, but I was gonna ask tonight if anyone had an interest in going to that, because they're saying we can send anyone. It's Thursday at 6:30 PM in room C at the municipal building, and the other thing is we have a volunteer,
We have the volunteer reception at 5:30.
that's at 5:30.
Yes, so come and eat and then go over to the meeting.
So my question is anybody interested in attending the comprehensive plan meeting on behalf of the library board on Thursday? And if not, that's fine. Okay,
I will go if nobody else can
So,
attend, but it really should be.
I need to,
Board meeting.
I need to talk to my wife, and I'm gonna figure out tonight if we can make it work.
Well, if you
I
can't,
will
then.
let you know.
Is that that I'm not interested, I'm on call, so
Yeah.
I can't.
I get it, it's hard, we're all going to so many meetings, and I get it.
6:30 until what time?
That is-
8 maybe.
8:30 at the latest, yep.
I can see if I can get. someone
Okay.
to watch the movie.
Okay, I'll email you or text you, and we can chat and figure out what we're gonna do, but I know you're interested, so that's good. And do you know how many more of these there are gonna be?
I don't.
Liaison?
No, I
Okay.
can't tell
It
you.
was originally just 3 or 4.
Yeah, and I think it's still 3 or
Okay.
4, but I don't know
Okay,
for sure. Sorry.
I apologize for that, Robin. Just fitting in one more meeting seems to
No,
hit my line, and it's been problematic.
I triple booked myself one night. I had 3 meetings at the same time that I was supposed to be at, so I totally understand.
The other thing I have is confirmed dates for our next year of board meetings. Was this also in the email you sent me that I casually neglected?
I believe so, yes.
Okay,
That's okay.
I'm assuming we're looking at something that was the same as what we did this year as far as what months we hit?
Yes, 8 meetings a year. We're not meeting in June, August, October, and December per our agreement last year. The board voted on that, I want to say in May.
So the only issue I see with this is May 15th is a Monday.
May 15th is Monday.
Yeah, Anthony noticed that too before the meeting, so that's just something we will vote on in May 16th.
Oh, okay.
And then I will adjust that before I send it to Julie to publish.
Could I also ask, the November 21st meeting, as it often does, falls Thanksgiving week. Could it go a week before or a week after? Because those of us who travel that day for Thanksgiving, and I'm treasurer, and that's the night we should be talking about the budget, I'd sort of like to be there.
It's absolutely fine with me, and it's
I
up
don't
to
care
you all.
which, a week before, or a week after, a week after is still a problem, week before,
Let's do the week before then.
So that would be,
November 14th.
the 14th.
yes.
It just doesn't make sense to have a meeting that week.
I mean, it's a conflict for you, Ann, because it's a commission meeting night, but the rest of us already.
Go ahead.
So maybe everyone already sees this, but this isn't the packet that was passed out as everybody looking. These would be basically the 8 more dates. Well, the 8 dates we'd be meeting for this board calendar year. We changed May 15th to May 16th, correct? Just to make that line up with a Tuesday, and then the November meeting, we'd be backing up a week to the 14th.
That's
So
fine.
it's
And I
8
did double check all the other dates and they look correct, but I've been bad with dates this week, so, okay, thank you.
Do we need to vote on this or?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll take a motion to approve.
I have a
these.
question.
Oh, yeah.
May 16th is is an election day, and so those of us who are poll workers, I won't be able to make it.
And I'll be at the polls.
Trying to win re-election.
I don't know that that's ever come up in any of these.
So can we do that?
I mean, the library is open, but we can. Let's see, so.
So the 9th or the 23rd are also Tuesdays in May.
The 9th would be very difficult for staff to be able to get anything together for
It'd have to be
a
the
packet.
23rd.
So a week later is gonna be the 23rd. I don't have my May schedule in front of me.
I'm out.
What'd you say?
It doesn't really matter. I'm just saying I won't be here for that.
I'll be in England.
Right about it.
I know.
The thing is would we want to make this an established, do you feel like we would regularly need to say we're not gonna have the board meeting on an election day, or?
I don't know enough about Pennsylvania elections to know how often this would be a conflict. Do we normally have elections on the 3rd Tuesdays in May?
It's the second. It is.
It's the 3rd.
Oh, you're right. Huh.
I don't know that there's a schedule for it, is there?
I have no idea. That's why I just really don't
I
know.
think it's not, it's
No,
not.
they can change it at any time,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I think one year it was the 6th,
or else we
one
would
year
get
it
it
was in
before.
April.
Yeah, I don't ever remember this coming up before, but I think it's great you're forward. I don't know. So the library used to be closed because we were a voting location, but that's been many years, well before my time.
What time is the polls close? 7?
8.
Okay,
Yeah, that makes it hard.
never mind.
And then 4 is staff.
So for your team, the 23rd is the better of the two options, if it's moved.
Yeah, the 9th, it's hard to get the financial information from the municipality and all of the statistics from the EI network that I provide.
Sure.
And since I didn't get you this month's information, I'd hate to miss another month in a row. But I mean, we can maybe move it to a Wednesday. I can,
Well, I guess I was under the impression we had to have, that everybody had to be here, but you just said you weren't
Oh,
gonna.
You
no,
don't.
no, you
So
don't.
it's not. If you miss a single board meeting holiday, it's not a
As long
big
as we
deal.
have-
Everyone in this room is gonna end up missing at least one
Okay.
board meeting this year. So
Okay.
it's not a
Yes.
big deal at all. And honestly, my gut says, let's just leave it because
Mm-hmm.
everyone knows the 3rd Tuesday of the 3rd, right? Yeah, 3rd Tuesday of the month. And if we just make too many move around, it becomes confusing.
Okay.
So as long as you're okay with it.
And you said these are recorded?
yes,
Yeah.
everyone
Yeah.
is recorded, and as long as we have a quorum of at least 4 voting members, then we have the meeting and there's no issue.
And there have been meetings in which we've only had 4 people.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then we'll see you in July.
Okay.
That sound good to everyone?
Yes.
Fine.
But
All
we
right.
are moving November to the 14th, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
As definite.
Yes, I think it's fair to not want to do one 2 days before
Sure,
Thanksgiving.
sure,
People are gonna be traveling. and-
No, understandable.
yeah.
Cooking for 100 people.
Yeah, so I just said cooking.
But like I said,
Yeah.
moving more than one makes me feel,
Yeah.
okay, so can I have a motion to approve those dates then for our schedule? Holiday motion, second. Mary seconds. Everyone in favor?
Aye.
We're good.
I shouldn't vote, can't vote.
Thank you.
I know.
Robin, director's report.
Yes, okay, so, Holiday and Kristen, there is a director's report in every board packet. I don't read those out. Those are just, it's basically just a list of events that occurred the previous month. So basically, when I talk about things that are happening a little more currently. There's a lot going on, and as I said, we had so many people out with COVID and various other illnesses that we're all scrambling this past week and a half or so, but you'll have noticed the beautiful concrete slab outside the upper entrance, and we managed not to kill Nancy's shrubs, so hopefully she won't be too angry with us for messing up her garden there. But yeah, so that is going to be our 24/7 holds lockers, which will be installed hopefully, fingers crossed, May 16th. So we've talked to Biblioteca, we're coordinating with Public Works. everything has to be coordinated so that people are there that day, because the biblioteca people come one day and then they leave. So if we can't get it all set up that day with the electric and everything, then we have a problem. But it looks like it's going to be May 16th that we'll have that in. Let's see. I would like to commend Susan Tracy for her excellent presentation last night for Pennsylvania Citizens of Better Libraries. That is an organization that advocates for libraries throughout Pennsylvania. It's mostly comprised of friends, library board members, library directors who promote advocacy. And Susan presented on our amazing library board and how she has kept our membership levels up and that sort of thing. She did a really, really good job.
Thanks, Susan.
And I noticed you didn't mention it, so I wanted to be sure to.
Well, I really didn't even have it in my notes, and when I was finished and we moved on, I thought, you probably should have said something. But it was an honor for me to have been asked to do it. And to talk about membership, we are so good at membership, this community, it is, so it was an easy thing to talk about. And I learned, because the second speaker is somebody that I have great respect for, but there were things that she said, because in my talk I said, or somebody asked about, I don't know what they asked, how often do you have board meetings? And I said, well, we do it as need. I like the specific, let's do it on the second Tuesday or the third Wednesday. But that's not how this group operates. And then Denise, when she was talking, she said, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
That's
And I
right.
thought, that's the thing to keep in my mind, just kind of do what you do. And, but it was, I am honored that we were invited, and I was honored to represent the Friends here. And
Our Friends group is really one that other libraries across the state attempt to emulate. Susan's been to several other libraries where she's been invited to come to the library and talk to the board and the directors about how to get a Friends group started. So you're really a leader in the field, and it's wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay, Colson Whitehead, our speaker series event next Wednesday night is sold out. Yes, so we've sold about 1,000 tickets to that. We're filling up Mellon Middle School auditorium. And we've also been able to give tickets to several local high schools. I think it was Seton LaSalle, Mount Lebanon, maybe Keystone Oaks. So we actually gave tickets to some of the English classes so that the students can come and attend. And to the co-presidents of the Black Student Caucus at Mount Lebanon High School will be introducing Mr. Whitehead. So it's a really exciting thing to have them involved. We've never really done that before. So that's going to be a really exciting event. You may have noticed on our Facebook that Monday morning, we were all surprised by a visit from Bear, our newest K-9 officer from Mount Lebanon Police Department, and he gave us all lots of love and kisses, which was lovely on a Monday morning, even though he's a very slobbery dog. So cute though, and so friendly, and such a ham for the camera. So that was part of a program that the police department is doing with Bear. Every year, they're going to highlight several area locations. This year, it's us, Minios, and Scoops on Beverly. And they're going to make trading cards of Bear at each of these locations. So then the kids will go to the locations, collect the trading cards, and then go to the safety center for a prize. So we're really excited about that. We loved hosting Bear, and we're going to schedule him for a visit this summer to get to meet the kids and that kind of thing. So that was really
I
fun.
think he has to appear at the board meeting.
He is such a cutie, he really is. Let's see. So on Earth Day, which Mount Lebanon is celebrating on April 30th, we are having an event here on the 22nd in the children's room, but April 30th is Big Earth Day in Mount Lebanon at the park. And the children's librarians will be there with our library book, bike, and cart. So it'll be the first time we get it out of the Public Safety Center garage for the year. let's see, this week is National Volunteer Week, so I wanted to thank you all as volunteer board members and Susan, of course, as the leader of our Friends Volunteers for all of your service and all of the wonderful things you do for us every day. It's very much appreciated. To that end, we are having a volunteer reception. We talked about it. And Holiday and Kristen, if I have not invited you yet, you are more than welcome to attend. It is Thursday at 5:30 in the room right next door. Let's see.
I don't know, do you need reservations, or do you guys do?
I mean, you can text MA or, I mean, email MA if you want to, or email me and I'll let her know, but it's, we try to just get a roundabout number for, to know how much food to buy. So it's fine if you didn't RSVP.
Well, if I'm gonna go to it'll come this before.
Oh, yeah, that would be great. Okay, and the last thing I wanted to talk about, April 24th has, next week is National Library Week, and we have the proclamation that the commission passed. Thank you for that. April 24th is Right to Read Day. The American Library Association has labeled that Right to Read Day. And they have a website that advocates for libraries and librarians who are facing book challenges and that kind of thing. It's uniteagainstbookbans.org. So they offer a lot of different ways that you can advocate, including check out and read a banned book, attend a library or school board meeting, write a letter to the editor or your elected officials, report censorship, and join the Unite Against Book Bans campaign. There are a lot of, on their website, there are a lot of good, if you're on social media, Facebook images and graphics and things like that you can share. And also next week on Tuesday at lunchtime, we are having our annual staff appreciation luncheon. And the board traditionally has donated funds to pay for that, the board and Keith McGill and our commission liaison. So thank you so much to those of you who have donated. I really appreciate it. As I said in the email I sent, if I don't have enough money to cover, I will cover the rest of it myself. Usually I have more than enough, in which case I will donate the rest to the library on behalf of the board and municipality in honor of the staff. So I think that's all I have. It feels like I've talked and talked.
So next is committee reports. Before we get into the individual committee reports, we should probably talk about committees with Holiday and Kristen, correct? Or
Yes,
make
there
them
was a
aware?
list in your new member packet, but there are only 3, so.
So basically, we have 3 subcommittees within the library board. There's I believe it's called the Treasury Committee, which is essentially just Marcia and you, correct?
The finance committee
Finance committee.
is the president, so you're on it.
Oh, I'm on it.
The
Well,
president, the treasurer, and the director, basically, and
Okay.
we present a budget to the municipality every year because they provide most of our funding. So basically, that committee only convenes when I need help preparing that budget.
you can go ahead and explain the other 2 committees too, if you'd like.
No, I didn't mean to jump in. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's totally, honestly, I think you should explain the fundraising committee, because I haven't been on that one, so you would probably do a better job, or if someone wants on the fundraising committee would like to talk about it.
The board, traditionally, the board has, one of the traditional roles of this board was to ensure that the library has adequate funding. And so to that end, we have a fundraising and advocacy committee. Advocacy has happened. I would like advocacy to be a very strong part of this board's actions. And when I have needed members to attend commission meetings and talk during the public comments and that kind of thing, they've always stepped up. That actually helped us get full-time positions a few years ago for our teen librarian and our senior library assistant. And a lot of what the committee does is fundraising, especially helping to coordinate the annual library garden tour. So there are several other things throughout the year, but that's the main thing. And then the governance committee, do the two of you want to talk about it? It's basically reviewing policies, making sure that the policies are up to date and relevant and current, and presenting them to the board for approval. And the governance committee also serves as a nominations committee to create the slate of officers.
So, that's correct. Long story short, I and Mary make up the governance committee. Anthony and Monica make up the fundraising committee, and the thought is one of you would go on one and one of you would go on the other. We don't have anyone in mind. I don't know if you want to talk about it with each other and see what you might be interested in between meetings.
We're the cool committee.
You could choose.
If there's something you're both happy with, you can bring it to us and we'd be happy to put you on those committees. If you want us to decide, I'm sure Robin and I could do that. You can take a month and think about it, right? Or we're not in a big rush, or are we in a big rush?
We are
Or-
not in a big rush.
However, the governance committee is going to be meeting
Yes.
between this meeting and our next meeting on, I believe, May, what did we say, second?
We
Because
just
I was on call and then I'm not on call,
Yeah,
but
we moved it
it's
to the
third,
third,
I'm sorry,
third.
May 3rd, Wednesday, May 3rd.
We just can't have 4 people at the meeting, so 4 voting members at the meeting, because that's a quorum.
So,
So we just need one, if one of you would like to join us on Wednesday, May 3rd, we will be meeting.
so I can think about it, talk about it, let either Robin or I know what you're interested. I mean, I can talk to you guys after.
I think we meet fairly frequently, the governance
Yes.
committee does, so.
More at the beginning of the year. I think,
Yes.
than-
Well, I'm just trying to give them all the
No,
information.
yeah, no,
In the meantime, we have reports, and that will
Yes.
provide you with more insight on what these meetings do. Is your report coming from you? Or from, okay.
Marina did give me a garden tour committee update as well,
Yep.
so, go ahead.
The cool committee, the garden tour, as I think everyone knows, is Sunday, June the 25th. I am about 50% staffed with the volunteers for that day. And the way with that, it's the way we do volunteers, we have at least 2 this year we have 7 gardens. And so we need, and the volunteers are primarily just checking your name off, when people sign up, et cetera. It's not laborious work in any way. The first session is 11 to 12:30. The second is 12:30 to 2. The last one is 2 to 4. That extra 30 minutes is basically because of the cleanup and making sure that everything is set. And I don't have the exact number, so this is an estimate, but we probably have 75% of the volunteers who were involved last year have signed up again. And so, but I'm still looking for 1, 2, 3, 6 time slots, if my memory is being kind to me. So I've got a email going out primarily to friends of my much better half, who are more of whom are gardeners than I ever knew except for the last week, have I found this out. But certainly if any of you know someone who is a gardener or pretends to be a gardener, or just wants to spend, an hour and a half or so on, keep our fingers crossed, a gorgeous June Sunday afternoon, that would be perfect.
And you get free tickets.
And that's true, I forgot that's a very good point. You also get a free ticket to the garden tours, which would allow you either before or after, depending upon when your shift is, to go see all of the locations if you wanted to.
My neighbor has volunteered this year and she let me know that she was contacted and she's going to, and she has 3 people in addition who would like to do it. And her name is Sue Siebold.
I got an email
Did
from
she
her
call you?
maybe,
Okay.
oh gosh,
I'll get
I
in
want to
touch with
say about the same time I got your email, and I just realized now, I've just completely got to reply to you to say thank you, so I will say thank you. Yes, I do have her and a couple of others in a slot. Yep, I did hear her.
I was just thinking, maybe I didn't actually.
No, the fault is the recipient, not the sender, all right? It was like one of those, okay, put her in the slot, okay, perfect. Send thank you, I'll remember that. The next person, put them in a slot, send thank you, send a thank you. So my apologies for not sending that to you, but yes, you are on the list. So,
Do you need to know anything about gardens to
No.
volunteer?
have you met me before tonight? No,
I
no.
killed bamboo once, so I am.
Well, that's impressive. because
Yes.
It's hard to kill
It
bamboo.
is, that's what I was told, they were like, you killed bamboo, I'm like.
No, all kidding aside, you do not have to be, my older son, for example, who looks at a garden and goes, that's nice. He is now dating a young woman who very much likes gardens, and so last year, he was one of the volunteers. He says, what am I doing here? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be single for the rest of my life. Uh-huh. You see how that went?
That's hilarious.
No, but all kidding aside, if you know somebody, I think everyone has my email address. Just shoot me a quick note, or have them shoot me a note and I can get in touch with them. I don't think there's anything else for the fundraising committee, is there?
I have.
Oh, you were gonna tap on something.
Marina
Yeah.
has some stuff. So Marina is the senior library assistant, so she's the staff member that works primarily with the fundraising committee, and she does a lot of the organization of the garden tour. So 7 confirmed gardens, as Anthony said. We will be meeting with the gardeners next Monday to discuss the tour and to answer questions. The advertising solicitations for the brochure went out in March, and so far the response has been very low. We've only had 9 ads so far. I know she sent around advertising letters to all of you last month. So if you still have those, if you can share them with a business you frequent in the area, that would be great. Raffle basket salutations I think she means solicitations, went out in early April. Again, low response. We lost many of the raffle basket donors as well during COVID. I'm attaching the full list of businesses contacted for raffle donations. Please ask your board members to reach out to any of these business owners to ask them to consider donating. So here are the letters, if you want to take a couple, and just, if you frequent a business in Mount Lebanon or in the South Hills and can get, a couple of gift cards or anything like that, that would be very much appreciated. Please ask the board members to donate items to create our Garden Lovers raffle basket. So each year we do a raffle basket in conjunction, sale in conjunction with the garden tour, and it makes a significant amount of money, several $1,000s. And each year the board members all contribute to one basket. So this year the theme is Garden Lovers for the board. She says, I have several books and a basket prepared, but we'll need gardening tools, seeds, gift cards to garden centers, rollers, etc., to fill the basket. So you can email Marina if you have something you'd like to contribute. She'll coordinate all that. And the last thing we have are garden tour posters with our beautiful artwork. Please ask each board member to take 2 posters to hang after May 1st when tickets go on sale. And you can hang these at work, hang these uptown, Beverly Road, wherever you're at. Just pop in, coffee shop, and say, hey, would you mind hanging a poster? Most people are very nice about it.
Robin, when did she start having the raffle baskets on display? Because I'll have to get that game,
Yeah.
Jan.
I think it's through the month of, I think it's, because that's just for 1 month. So I think
Correct.
it'll probably start June 1st, but
Okay.
you can talk to her the next time.
Okay, will do.
The turnaround's usually pretty quick on that.
Right.
And I do have the list of raffle donors. So far, we've received from Aladdin's Eatery, Carnegie Museums, Children's Museum, Heinz History Center, the Mattress Factory, Civic Light Opera, the Pittsburgh Steelers, Pittsburgh Zoo, the Saloon bought an ad, Sarah's Candies, Simone's, and South Park Theater. So everything else is fair game. And those of you, there are so many of you that are at universities, if, I don't know if your theater department has any tickets that would be available at any point in the summer, you know, for fall events or anything like that, but that might be, we've never really done that before.
This letter is just about the raffle baskets.
That one is about raffle baskets, yeah. Last month, she sent around one about ads. Yeah, and you can email Marina if you need another copy. That's all I had on fundraising, so.
Okay. So that was a lot of stuff about the garden board. Is everybody clear? Does anybody have any questions? I can tell you our basket, the board's basket, that my first year on this board, we were really light on members and my wife and I basically put the whole basket together ourselves.
It was
It's a
beautiful.
lot. Oh, thank you. It's a lot of work. So if we can all contribute like one thing, it'll make it much easier on Marina or the committee or whoever's gonna be in charge of assembling all of that.
And the
So-
baskets with gift cards always do way better than the baskets with just stuff. So if you can contribute a gift card, that would be great.
I'm trying to think, is there a good way to make sure we all just don't go buy a Roller's gift card or all buy the same garden shovel, or we need to diversify a little bit, right?
I mean, you can just, like I said, Marina's coordinating, you can email and ask her, you can text around, as long as you're not making decisions pertinent to board actions. I don't think this is something that's going to, you know, be in violation of the sunshine laws.
So if anyone's curious about what our basket might need, email Marina then. So, right?
Yes.
Okay. Governance committee, Mary, were you
Yeah,
speaking?
I'm
Great, I was
ready.
hoping you were ready. Great.
I brought our packet from our last meeting. So we have about 30 policies. I'm gonna take that. We have about 30 policies that need updating, and the governance committee came up with a schedule last year as part of the SMART goal for the municipality, that we would have a schedule as to when we would start to meet and when we would present changes to the full board for vote. So we met last month, we reviewed 3 policies that have been updated. We will present them at our next meeting in May, and then the board will vote on those changes in July. So that's how this is going to work. If we have other policies that we can get through between this meeting and our May meeting, we may have more than just the 3 that we have right now. So we reviewed the hours policy needed to be updated. And I believe that also includes the holidays, or is it just the
Yeah,
hours?
it's a list of holiday closures.
The meeting room policy on how people can use the meeting room here at the library was updated. And then lastly, our public notice board was also updated. And we have, as I said, we have about 30. So Robin has kindly given us a spreadsheet and has kind of highlighted the ones she thinks that, you know, when they were created, when they were last updated, and kind of given us some guidance on which ones we feel like need some attention. The 2 that we are currently working on that are a little more problematic are the unattended children's policy and the patron behavior policy. So we've met and had very lengthy discussions. Robin also contacted the rec center to see what their policy is on how young a child can be left at the rec center. And I saw you look up at that. So we're not gonna get into that tonight, but that's what we're looking at. And that's, as we said, some of these are really simple fixes and some are things that need further discussion. We will also contact, and I forget his name, I'm sorry, the attorney that we refer to.
Phil Weiss.
Phil Weiss, if we have a legal question. So,
The way, you mind me?
no, go right ahead.
The way the process sort of works is we've identified the policies that most need updated to focus on those. Robin and her staff sort of go through and put together a rough draft of what the new policy could look like.
Yes,
The governance committee looks over that draft and makes our own recommendations or lets our opinions be known on ways that we think we can further improve that draft. Together, we will eventually arrive at a final draft,
Yes.
which will then be presented to the full board for a vote or, for an official vote to ratify.
Yeah.
So that's how it works. And we will be bringing new completed policies to this board for a vote in what month, Robin?
July.
July is when the full board will get through. And at that point, you guys will be able to ask questions and, you know, make recommendations too, if you don't think we're ready to approve.
Right.
But
You'll have had 2 months to read
Right.
because
Yes.
it'll be presented in May.
yes,
So like for this one, this is the meeting room policy. So we have a current version, we have a red line version and a draft version. So we look at all three, see what the changes are. And then we decide if we like those changes or further information has to be.
and like Robin said, you will not be seeing one of these policies for the first time
And then
at the night of the meeting and then
and then vote
voting a
on it.
half hour later. You
No.
will get them in advance to look over.
And all of our current policies that have been adopted by the board are on our website. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, there's a policies list.
Okay, and that should be all for the governance committee, correct?
Yes, so we have three that are ready to go, two that are still in the works.
And like we said, if one of you end up joining the governance committee by the time we meet in just a couple, 2 weeks, I think, you will get to come be a part of that one. Moving on to old business and the strategic plan update, Robin?
Yes, so this is not as formal as some of my past strategic plan updates have been, but we're planning to make some changes to the strategic plan as far as, let's see. I don't know that I really need to share the screen since nobody else is on this call, correct? I can just, if I minimize, are we still recording?
Yeah.
Okay, well, there we go. Okay, so at the bottom, so here's where library policies are. And then underneath that, we have our vision, mission, and strategic plan. And we adopt this in June of 2021. This is not the big, broad 10-year comprehensive plan like the municipality does. This is a much more short-term action steps, and basically we're confirming the things we say in our mission statement. So we're making sure with our action steps that we're doing what we're saying that we're going to do. We're providing program participants with culturally rich, broadly representative and authentic programs, providing robust dynamic collections with diverse perspectives and voices, welcoming an inclusive environment based on mutual respect, honesty, and accountability from staff members, and a safe and accessible physical and virtual space, supporting our community through partnerships with civic groups and organizations, work with schools and learning institutions, promote inclusion and equitable treatment. And it all leads back to our main mission to provide for all patrons an inclusive, welcoming environment of intellectual enrichment, creativity, and enjoyment, and a forum to exchange ideas by providing top-tier programs, materials, services, and community support. So under our strategic actions, we just repeat each subheading of our mission. And so all of these are action steps under programs, and some of these are ongoing. So encourage STEAM exploration and technology, literacy, increased number of STEAM program offerings, which we have increased, engage caregivers and children in innovative practices, maintain the family place designation, provide programs that support each arm of the PA Forward literacies. Most of these things we do. Marina has applied for many, many grant opportunities. So this one is something that we will update because it's kind of out of date at this point. Under materials, a lot of this is the same thing where it's ongoing. This part, review existing collection development policy. The board updated our collection development policy last year due to all the book bans and challenges that have been, increasingly happening in libraries across the country and schools across the country. That was a priority for us last year. So we made sure that our request for reconsideration procedure was up to date and all of our associated documents, and the collection development policy reflects that and has been reviewed by council. This last one, librarians and admin will provide training and tools to equip frontline staff. We are currently planning quarterly training for some of these things, mostly our digital resources. We find that if staff are trained in just getting exposed to things like Canopy and Hoopla and some of our databases, they're much more likely to use them themselves, to recommend them to library patrons. So they are very expensive and they're wonderful resources and they're underutilized. So we're going to be making a change to that line to make that more specific. Under the service line item, we have a lot of changes here. The conduct a study of our physical space is something that we've been wanting to do since before COVID, and it just kept getting pushed and pushed. So I'm not sure exactly where we're at with that one. We redesigned the website to optimize the ADA and mobile. That one has been accomplished. Integrate services that increase library accessibility and ease of use into regular library services post-pandemic. Our 24/7 holds lockers are a great example of that one. Some of these are things that we are no longer required to do. The information security policy was part of our PCI compliance with our credit card machine and that kind of thing. And we are currently, with our current standards of practice, we are meeting that need, so we don't need to have a specific security policy. Same with the disaster planning document, that's more of a municipal level rather than library level. But we are going to be, revising that one to cover emergency situations and have maybe a checklist rather than a full-on guide. The next two are Board of Trustees initiatives. The Library Board of Trustees will establish a regular schedule to ensure policies and procedures are current, consistent, clearly communicated, and equitably enforced. And that's what Mary and Bob were just telling you about. We adopted that last year and it's been working really well. The Library Board will explore green initiatives and ways in which the library can improve and promote green practices. That one has not actually really, we haven't made a lot of headway with that one yet. So it's something you can talk about and decide whether you want to continue that as a priority of the board or if you want to find other board priorities.
Where are we with the solar panels?
The solar panels were installed in January.
Okay.
There has been an issue getting the information to the solar panel display, which is sitting up there blank in between the self-checks. And that's just a matter of connectivity that the municipality has to work out. But we do have solar panels on the roof. We're the only municipal building to have solar panels, so it's pretty exciting.
And they're working, they're on?
They are on, yes, they are connected. I just can't tell you how much energy they're helping us out with.
They're actively working on fixing that though, or?
That's what I'm led to believe, yes.
I'm gonna check on that.
Thank you, Ann. Library staff, with the support of the board's fundraising committee, will create a focused fundraising campaign to support the purchase of new furniture. That one was actually negated because we were given a very large bequest, which we were able to use for new furniture. So we didn't actually, that one was accomplished, but not because of any work on our behalf. So. And I'm sorry, yeah, exactly. It was a freebie. And the board's fundraising committee will work with library staff to formulate event budgets, including staff costs for fundraising events. That's another thing that we kind of haven't done because the whole COVID thing has lasted much longer than we thought it would. And all of the events that we used to do, we're not really doing anymore. So we just haven't really worked on that.
I remember you're talking about that though, like things like the beer events and things.
Yeah, the beer events, exactly. It takes a lot of staff time and we're just not really doing those events anymore. A lot of the reason is because it takes so much staff time. So if we ever do bring them back, it would be nice to have a more clear picture of how much it's actually costing the municipality or the library rather, and how much profit we're actually making on the events. And then the final one is community. So again, some of these are ongoing, like The library director will work with the municipal commissioners to ensure that the library board of trustees consists of dedicated citizens that represent the entire community. Well done.
I think we did that.
Yes. And we are continuing to broaden our reach through strengthening relationships with schools, community groups, et cetera. We are doing as much as we can as far as outreach with our current staff members for adults. The person in that position will be retiring in August, so we will have a new staff member in that position where outreach will be a priority. We're also going to be adding a part-time librarian to the children's department to increase outreach to community events, to schools, et cetera, at the same time. That's been cleared as of last week with the municipality. And we have not yet created a committee of representatives from our library and local organizations, though we do work with all of these organizations frequently. We have never convened everybody into one room to just chat about all the things we do and how we can support one another. But that is a goal that we plan to keep on here. And we have held off on doing this patron survey that we were planning. We're surveyed out in the municipality.
Absolutely.
And it's just not a good time for us to do that. We do, survey patrons on a very casual basis after programs. I think there's a survey form on the chairs a lot of the time and that kind of thing. And we always take suggestions, but we're gonna hold off on doing a formal survey for a while until Ian's done doing his magic.
There are a couple more scheduled, so we might be on hold for a while.
Yes, so the plan for us this year is to take a look at the strategic actions, leave on there what makes sense for us to continue with, remove things we've already completed or that no longer make sense, add things that we need to add, and in September, I will provide you with a kind of new strategic actions, and we will update this and repost it on our website after the September board meeting.
Okay, is that all for old business then, Robin?
I
I
believe
have a
so.
question.
Yes,
We talked about board member training at one point.
yes, that was a priority of Evans, and we never really.
I just wondered where it was. if
Yeah,
we, you know.
I often send out emails to all of you from the Bear Center for Nonprofit Management.
Yeah.
Through Robert Morris. They have an amazing collection, a series of programs for nonprofit board members and directors, et cetera, about reading the budget, taking minutes, strategic planning, all kinds of things. So I will send those out. I send those out to you as I get them. Anybody's welcome to sign up for the training at any point. And the library will pay. I think Evan wanted you all to do 1 hour a year, something like that. So if you can take one, I think that would be great.
Those programs typically run 30 or 35 bucks. Typically,
Yeah, and like I said, the library will pay, so that's not a problem there.
they'll run anywhere from 90 minutes to 2 hours,
Yes.
give or take.
I know a lot of you have lots of board service and that kind of experience already, so if you don't feel that it makes sense for you to attend something like that, don't feel like, I don't think he ever said it was a requirement, and he's no longer here, so it's really Bob's show now.
Yeah.
I will say I'm not as passionate about that as Evan was. I think those services are offered, and if any of you are interested, you should definitely do it. Otherwise, we are all putting a lot of our time toward this library. I think we're okay.
Well said.
And yes, there was some talk about mandating it, but I don't think the board ever had enough votes to do that.
No, and it's not, there's nothing in our bylaws about,
Right.
about trading.
Any other questions about the strategic plan update or any old business? Okay, moving on to new business and the National Library Week proclamation.
So I just included this because the commission passed it. So I give it to you every year. It was shared on our social media, or it should have been. If it hasn't been, maybe it will be next week. and shared with the Pennsylvania Library Association and the Allegheny County Library Association, because they collect these things and, you know, use them in advocating to our local and state representatives. So I'm not gonna read it out to you because it's really long. The commission doesn't read those things out loud either anymore, but it's just basically saying that the library is awesome and the municipality recognizes that, and I appreciate that very much, so thank you.
Okay, so that's all for new business? I'm guessing.
Unless anybody else has something.
Anyone? Okay, we can move to our advocacy moment. To the new members on the agenda, it says advocacy moment, what have you read lately? This is just a fun little time at the end of our meetings where we talk about something that we've recently read, watched. It can be a TV show, it can be a movie. We've had people talk about magazine articles, podcasts they've listened to. So it should be somewhat art related or library related, but we give a little leeway. And we can start with Robin and just go around the table.
Okay, so as most of you know, I read a lot of really just stupid romance novels to the point where I'm embarrassed to even talk about them. But so I just thought, I wonder how many of these I'm actually reading, because it's like potato chips, you know, just like one after another. I couldn't tell you which characters and what they like all run together. They're all the same. But so I looked at Libby, our e-resources app, which I know you all have downloaded on your phones. And I have read so far this month 33 books. And some of those are novellas and some of those are compendiums of 3 or 4 novels altogether. So roughly 33 books I've read. But I also read a real book, an audio book, on my commute back and forth from Ohio. I finished the first in Ben Aronovich's Rivers of London series, which is a mystery cop drama, weird fantasy thing. They're really fun. There are graphic novels in the series as well as the books. And it's about a new London constable who is standing around at a crime scene, and he interviews a witness, and it turns out the witness was a ghost. So he realizes there's this whole other branch of the London Police Department that he knew nothing about, and he is the only junior member, and there's one like senior guy who turns out to be a magician. So Peter has to learn to deal with this whole new world, and he gets all the weird, creepy crimes. So if you like Jasper Ford's books, you'll probably really like these. I'm on the second one, and they're just a lot of fun. And the audiobooks are great. I think there are only a few on Libby. I don't think they have the whole series, but I really like the person reading. So highly recommend.
What was the author?
Ben Aronovich, 2 A's, like Aaron, Ovitch, Rivers of London. And then as far as TV shows, Lewis and I just watched one, I think it was on Paramount Plus or something. It's called School Spirits. And it's got one of the girls from the Cobra Kai series. And this is similar. I don't know why. It's just a coincidence, I guess. But
It sounds like ghosts.
yeah, so it starts out with her walking down the hallway at school with a ghost from the 90s, because she is dead, apparently. And she doesn't remember anything about her death. And nobody knows. Her blood was found in the boiler room. She has no idea who killed her or what happened to her. So the whole eight-part series is about finding out how she died and what happened, and everyone's a suspect.
You know, for a librarian, you watch and read some of the oddest stuff.
I know. If you want someone like really smart and impressive, I can bring down Sharon or Sarah. They're all, my staff, they're all way more clever than I am with stuff.
I think it's great, since
I
you know,
read
I
to
usually go,
escape.
I didn't read anything.
I read to escape. I really do.
Yeah, I understand that.
I have nothing to share. I haven't read anything. I haven't watched anything. Sorry, it's been a long month. So, I know. Thanks.
I didn't mention when we introduced ourselves, Holiday and Kristen. I'm a training editor and features editor for an entertainment website. And so normally the advocacy moment is me either humble bragging about something I got to see way early or complaining about something I was forced to watch. So this month, I was in charge of our review of the final season of HBO's Barry, starring Bill Hader.
Don't give it.
I
I love that show.
I will
Don't
not
give it away,
spoil.
please.
I have seen the entire last season except for the final episode, which they have not sent me yet. It is again excellent. It takes a major swerve in episode 5, which I will not spoil.
Because I
But
save them all and then watch them.
I knew you two watched,
Yeah.
so if anybody else watches Barry.
You say anymore, we're gonna get you president next month.
I'll be very curious to see everybody's reaction once we get to the back half of the season. But I gave it a very glowing review and have been very happy with this final season.
I apologize. I have to be
Oh,
up at 5:30 in the morning,
That's
so
okay.
I'm gonna head out.
You have a good night.
Yeah, you
Careful
guys too.
driving
I'll
home.
see you next month.
So yeah, 7 of the 8 episodes I've been very pleased with. And I also know last month I bragged that I talked my 8th grader into doing Clive Barker's The Thief of Always for her book report. And now she has to do another book report. And I didn't even push it. She came to me with Stephen King's The Body, which is the basis for Stand By Me. I
Yeah.
was like 1,000%, Ella. That sounds
Is
fantastic.
she reading the
So-
whole, what is it, different seasons?
No, we ordered her just the body
Okay.
novella, and she's doing that, so that's my proud daddy during our advocacy moment, that my daughter's now reading Clive Barker and Stephen King, which makes her very much my daughter.
Having read only 2 books this month, I feel inferior.
No, because the books I read aren't
No,
real
no,
books,
I
so.
know. There is a great book upstairs in the new book section called Once Upon a Tome, Tome, written by a young, to me, British guy, who just sort of stumbles his way into a job at an antiquarian bookstore in London. And it is hysterical. I might have read it in like a day, which in this group you don't have to apologize for. But it is a great book. It's maybe 180 pages, maybe. But you know, it's from the perspective of the sort of weird and normal people who would walk into a bookstore like that in London, which is not like smack dab in the middle of London, but is a little bit off to the side and whatever, and these sort of characters that he comes to meet. It's a hysterical book. And the other one I read is, I think it's called The Joys of Hanging Out, which is also in the new section upstairs. Written by a woman who reminds us that sometimes there is more joy in watching television and talking to people about it, going to dinner parties and talking to people and all of that, versus just sort of either doing nothing or, oh, look, I have another text message. So that's where I am this moment.
As you know me, I am in a PhD program currently in literature and criticism. So I'm taking a class right now in post-war British sci-fi. So I've been just all sci-fi, Robin's all romance, mine's all.
Yes, I want you reading this.
What's that?
I want you reading this.
Oh, absolutely. I can send it to you.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, one of the novels that we just read was an Adrian Tchaikovsky, and I just saw, it was either the second or third in the series. We read Children of Time, and they have Children of Ruin out in the bookseller, so I'm gonna have to go pick that up. So that's mostly what I've been reading lately, but I do want to put in a huge plug for Canopy, because so I don't know if if everyone has been on Canopy. It's incredible.
Oh, yeah.
But I especially love it for its kids material. My parents love to sit my son in front of YouTube And I have such an extreme problem with this, as an information professional. They don't understand and my dad has no idea. He complains about the low quality of these things that television companies are making for YouTube. And I think, these are people with a cell phone in their garage.
These are not companies.
So,
Companies.
yes. So Canopy has a kids area. If you have kids, if you have grandkids, it's so fantastic. They have language learning programs for children. They have these read-along books for kids. I can't say enough great stuff about that resource for my son, who now is obsessed with screens because that's what my dad does. But Canopy is really, if you're looking for the alternative to YouTube, use that. Is ever you gonna show it?
No, I wanted to show you can get to it online right from our front page. It is free streaming movies, and if you have a Mount Lebanon library card, you can get up to 10 free libraries or 10 free videos a month. And they have all the great courses, the Criterion movies, so a bunch of classics. There's a lot of great stuff on there.
And there's a lot of language learning material for adults as well. Yeah, which I really,
Yes, we have so many databases that we pay a lot of money for, so strongly encourage you to use some of these.
Canopy is pretty great, not to turn it negative, but the one thing I wish they would do is, I think you can only get it through like Amazon and through an Amazon Fire Stick as far as the app goes. I would really like to see it be, because it's not on an Xbox, you can't get it on PlayStation, it's not on a lot of TVs.
Oh,
I
I'm
would-
not, yeah, I don't know about that.
I would like to see the Canopy app be on more platforms, but hopefully.
I think I have it on my Roku.
Roku, yeah, it might
Yeah.
come on Roku.
But you can also get it on all your devices. You can
There you
download
go.
it on your iPad. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
I'm another one who has genre. I tend to read popular like Patterson and Baldacci and Sanford, and I deviated. I haven't read one of those in a month. I find it fascinating to see how many books have come out in the last year. World War II historical fiction based on books in libraries. The Paris Library, the last bookshop in Paris. I just finished one, I just returned it, called The Librarian of Burned Books. And it is historical fiction, absolutely fascinating about, it's 3 different characters in 3 different time frames. Of course, they all have to come together somehow at the end, or it wouldn't make any sense. But the burned books, of course, are focusing on books burned by the Nazis in 1920 something, 30 or 31, I think. Fascinating book. I also just returned the new Jeanette Walls, which I read in 2 days, Hang the Moon. The writing is back to the quality of The Glass Castle. It has nothing autobiographical in it. It's about a family in the 1920s, very, very rural, very, very poor Virginia. And this one character who is consistent throughout the book and what happens to her. And it's really a lovely book. I also discovered, and I discovered things years later, the Louise Penny series on Inspector Gamache, or whatever his name is. I've now read 3 of them. I sort of fill in with those when I'm not reading my stack. And interestingly, I'm working my way through those in order, of course. Interestingly, today I had lunch with the former newly retired executive directors of the EIN and ACLA. And Marilyn, who was the director of ACLA, was raving about a book called Murder Your Employer, Volume 1. She says, yes, it's by Rupert Holmes, who of course is known for writing I Love Pina Coladas. That's his claim to fame, I think. She says it is one of the funniest books she's ever read. And I said, it just so happens it's waiting for me. So
That's all.
So I'm excited. It's supposed to be absolutely hysterical.
How's she doing?
She's fine. Marilyn and Rebecca are both good.
Good. I haven't seen either of them since they retired, so
Yeah, we do that periodically just for the hell of it. So,
that's great.
and I haven't watched anything notable because I tend to record things and then Robert and I watch them so we can zap through commercials. And he was down with COVID for 10 days, so I didn't watch anything. So we're still trying to play catch up from all the crap we normally watch. So I haven't watched anything series-like since we last met.
Louis won't let us start Ted Lasso until they're all.
I can't do that, I
out.
have to wait until they're all out.
It's just like
And
so
Mrs.
frustrating.
Meisel, the last season of Mrs. Meisel is being released,
Mhm.
starting last week for 6 weeks or 7 weeks. The only thing we watched that we really have liked, if any of you have HBO, the new Perry Mason is really a lot of fun. It's on its second season, and it's totally different. It's set in the 1920s, and totally different from what you think of as Raymond Burr's Perry Mason. And it's been a lot of fun.
I think I've read Jeanette Walls is coming to Pittsburgh for the
The book
book
festival.
festival.
Yeah,
Yes.
she is.
Yeah, she'll be in Pittsburgh next
Yeah.
month.
Yes.
Same day's the plant sale, so you gotta go to the
Yes.
plant sale in the morning, and
And
then you
then
can go to the book
The book
festival,
festival.
which is at the Theological Seminary?
Yes.
Did I read that? I think I'm going from memory, I think
Yes,
that's right.
it is. I just put it in my outlook today.
I've been to the book festival in Washington DC. I used to go year after year after year. And then I stopped going, and it was so wonderful, and that's where I heard her speak, and
Mhm.
well, they're all just jaw dropping, but
Mhm.
yeah, it's nice that we have something like that here, not as big as DC, but yeah, and I love the way she writes. So I am going to, in fact, I was sitting here and I thought, okay,
I
let's
don't
turn
think
that down.
well, this was one after her third one, and I don't think I read it. I think I missed it somewhere along the way. Silver
Yeah, I don't-
Star. So I'm gonna add them to my collection of books to be read.
Yeah, so I love to read, but I have not read a thing. It's probably the 4th month that I've said I have not read it. Well, I know the last time I picked up a book, and I did read it just out of trying to be polite to the author, because it wasn't nearly as, it just wasn't at all what I thought it might be. But anyways, I'm still really watching that Midsummer Murders.
Mhm.
And I figure I might be doing this for a long time, because I think it's been on television, or
It's
it's
had
on
like
TV.
67 seasons.
I was gonna say, at least 20-something, and so, and I think they're not at all the same, except there's usually a bloody knife
Yeah.
somewhere.
Well, there has to be.
But it's, I just really, and I like even the nuanced things that happen in it, I think, that is so clever. And that has made me think, and I think the woman who wrote it, I can't think of her first name or her last name, I think Graham, I think I might want to pick up something she's written and read and compare to what I've been watching. Yeah, it's a real temptation to turn it on. If you're making the bed, turn it on. If you're folding clothes, turn it on. So, yeah, but I'm hoping to maybe pick up some of the books that I've heard about this evening and actually get back. I'm really good on my back porch around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I just have not been able to get to that back porch yet either, so, I keep thinking, well, that's what's gonna pull your act together, hopefully, so.
Much like Robin, my genre is reading romance novels. I have a whole bag full of them to return today, including one by one of the authors coming to the book festival, so I'm excited to go and see her. But much like Marcia, I had a friend probably, I don't know, maybe a year ago now, share Louise Penny with me, and it was so out of my comfort. And she's like, you have to get through the first one, because that one just sets up a lot. And I just finished the most recent one not long ago. And it's a real, again, in this group, like, okay, well, if I start this at 2 p.m., I know at 2 a.m. I'm still gonna be sitting up reading this book, like, because you just can't, once you get past that hump, you can't. But, and so I've just started watching, also, there's a 3 Pines series on Prime.
Yeah.
Which, it's one of those things where, like, if you take it at its value and sort of look at it from the perspective of Louise Penny talks a lot about Indigenous women, and if you kind of look at the show from that perspective. But in my mind, Inspector Gamache was always Keanu Reeves. So Alfred Molina just was not
Does not
the
look like
dashing
Keanu Reeves, yeah.
Keanu that I thought. And then we are also big Ted Lasso people, which we are watching it week by week because the rest of my family does, and they can't keep their mouths shut about it. So everyone in my family is like an athletic coach. My husband is in fact a soccer coach, so we can't, after I forced everyone in my family to watch it in the first place, so I created my own mess there. So, yeah. And I watched Mrs. Mason too, so it's off to a great start. Yeah.
I'll save it and watch them all.
Yeah.
You know.
I just finished the 5-book, Tiffany Aching series.
Oh, I love
by
those.
Terry Pratchett.
Terry Pratchett's
Yeah.
YA series, yeah.
I needed to take a break, only to I had read the first one before. I didn't know what was waiting for me with the remainder, because she grows up and the issues get tougher and tougher. I'm like, hey.
Granny Weatherwax,
Yeah.
like, she is my role model for life. If I could be anybody on earth, it would be her. Obviously, she's fictional and a witch.
Besides for
Minor
those two
problems.
things.
She's just amazing. She's absolutely amazing.
And so then I picked up, The Invention of Wings by Sue Monk Kidd. I wrote it down because I wasn't gonna remember it. I'm a little disappointed so far, but we'll wait and see how that goes. And then I binge watch, and I literally mean binge watch, like 5 or 6 hours of a TV series that I had skipped over maybe because of work or child rearing. So I'm finishing up Modern Family now.
Oh, that's fun.
Right,
That is so fun.
I remembered, yeah.
Those are so fun.
Yeah.
Did you ever see Schitt's Creek? Cause that's, I mean,
Probably 2 days.
yeah, it is the best. Downton Abbey's good too. Yeah,
Schitt's Creek is fabulous.
Schitt's Creek was just so fun. Well, I continue my never open a book stance and read the New York Times every day though for hours on end. And in the evening tend to watch series and needlepoint because that's really what I want to do. So we have finished Shetland now and we just started Ms. Boniface, the nun. I'm kind of disappointed in that one. I don't like it very much, so I'm gonna have to switch to Midsummer Murders.
I watched all of it.
But I did actually, I forgot that I had a literary moment this month. We took the grandchildren this past weekend to the Great Wolf Lodge, which is everything that is not culture. It's fake. It's very offensive to those of us with an architecture bent. It's horrifying in many ways. The children loved it, of course, even though the inside is designed like a hospital, still they loved it. But we did listen to Magic Tree House books because the oldest is 6 and I knew I could get those and she loves them. So we had a literary moment there. Yes, 3 episodes of that, so. Yeah.
Also, I would just say for the people who like Ted Lasso, Shrinking,
Oh,
if
Shrinking
you
is
don't
great.
mind some really bad words, that show, I literally laughed till I cried
Shrinking is
multiple
fabulous.
episodes. It is really funny.
Where is it?
It's also on Apple,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's, Roy Kent helps write for Shrinking,
Awesome.
so, yeah,
Shrinking
it's,
is wonderful.
it is really funny.
They're both, Bill Lawrence, who did Scrubs,
Yeah.
he's the EP on both those shows. They have related staffs.
Yeah, it's,
I kind of want to change the name of Advocacy Moment to a Literary Moment trademark and we'll see.
you have the.
Otherwise, I believe, see, I did so good on Robert's Rules of Order today, but did we vote to adjourn? I
You
forget.
don't have to vote to
We don't have
adjourn.
to
I
if
move
you
to adjourn.
fulfill all of the items on the agenda.
Okay, I'm making a president's prerogative. We adjourn. No vote necessary.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Yeah, you.
So your first cabinet meeting is.
Oh, this,
How you
me and let me know, I'm good.
If you haven't turned in your financial interest statement to the municipality, please do that
Because she doesn't.
by the end of the month.
I've done
That's right.
So many textures.
running for office. Everything. And all it says is no, 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 no. I don't know any of these things.
Yeah, great. I would like for people in my life to be trying to shower me with inappropriate photos or vacations or anything. Real estate trust.
Where are all the Russian ones?
717-911-72.
Oh,
If I can go.
I
You have a good night. I don't have to-
But
But I'm gonna